everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and last night I got to see Invincible Season 2, Episode 4, and let's just go ahead and jump right into it. Yeah, so we left off at a pretty critical moment for Mark. He has been lured to this bug planet, I think Thraxia was the name of it, and when he goes there, he's told like, oh, well, all people are in trouble, there's meteors falling down, and he goes there, and everything seems peaceful. And of course, his father is there. He's been lured there, and he doesn't know how to take this. At first, he's really mad at him, and then he gives him a hug, but then he's really mad at him again because he lied to get him here. And of course, there's just got to be so much going through his head. I mean, how do you, like no one in this show is still fully reckoned with everything that happened, even though I think it's been a year now. Obviously Debbie's still going through it. We'll go into that. But yeah, Mark and Omni-Man, they have this whole conversation, and really this episode we get to see how what happened with Nolan in the past year, about how and it kind of feels, I don't want to say rushed because we are covering the events of an entire year, but like, he left Earth and he had like this critical transformative moment of, I'm not gonna kill my son. I'm not actually as evil as I'm thinking that I was, because he left, and he left behind with some tears, and he's floating in space for who knows how long, and he is just a mess, like he's letting his beard grow out, and he's just adrift, and he sees a black hole, and he almost like lets himself go into the black hole because he doesn't know who he is or what he's supposed to be doing, so you kind of see how, even Nolan, as evil as he seemed last season, even he is like a victim of his circumstance, like he was born into this Viltrumite lifestyle, and that's all he knows to be, because that's what Viltrumites are, so having humanity and having feelings, like it's just not a thing that he's ever had to experience, even with his thousands of years of life, and maybe he sees it as a weakness, and we kind of go through that in this episode. But anyways, he rescues a ship of Thraxian bug people that we kind of saw their origin story last episode. Funny enough, it was, did they reveal that it actually was Nolan was part of the group that attacked them and destroyed their planet? I don't know if they actually established that, or if it was just different Viltrumites that attacked their planet in the first place. But anyways, he saves them, and he becomes their hero, and so they convince him to stick around, and he feels like he has a purpose now. And the big reveal is that he has since taken on a bug wife, and now has a bug, half Viltrumite, half bug child who's kind of bluish, and he looks a lot like Mark, so he's like, Mark, this is your half brother, and basically the Viltrumites are gonna figure out what I did. They're gonna find me, they're gonna kill all these people, especially because they have some strange rules about like breeding with not compatible species, although obviously they were compatible, so maybe it's just because they weren't humanoid enough, so I guess you can add some sort of discriminatory stuff to the Viltrumites' awfulness. Just they don't look human enough for them, even though clearly their species can, Anyways, so the interesting thing about the Thraxians is that their lifespan only lasts 1 year, so a lot like real insects in our world, but the half-brothers aging is slower than what a Thraxian would go through, having their entire growth span and death within 1 year, but it is still significantly fast in that the baby it already looks like a 1-year-old, even though it's only been like 6 months or something. So it is going to age at least twice, if not 3 times faster than a human would, right? So give it a handful of years, it'll be like the same age as Mark, basically. And so the Viltrumites are coming immediately, like he thought that they would have time to train, and it takes some convincing, but Mark's eventually like, fine, I'll help the Thraxians, not because you want it, and so obviously they still have their tension there. And I will say, watching this, it's kind of hard to judge like how sincere Nolan is, because it does kind of feel like we're doing a full 180 of like he he really cares about these people and he wants to protect them and he wants Mark's help, and he seems like really genuine about like caring, which, you know, I know obviously he had that big transformative moment at the end of last season where he didn't kill everyone, but I don't know, it does kind of feel like maybe we needed to see a little bit of this earlier, of him like kind of being lost in space and not knowing what he wants to do before we got to this point, because having crammed all of it in this one episode, it feels like, okay, I guess I just have to accept that that guy is now this guy in this one episode of context now. But anyways, I guess I buy it. But yeah, he seems real genuine about like, hey, Mark, I just need your help, buddy. Come on, man. You know, it seems a lot friendlier than last time we saw him. But of course, Mark just tells him to go fuck himself, and he's flying away, and he's all angry. But eventually, they do agree to help. And the Viltrumites are there, so now they gotta take on these Viltrumites immediately, which of course Mark is not prepared for. He's instantly kind of overmatched by a couple of these guys, and Nolan has to save his butt a handful of times. But eventually Mark does, you know, find a way to like, all right, you gotta fight like a Viltrumite, you gotta fight as if you intend to kill them, because that's what they're fighting like. You know, you can't just be a superhero where you never plan on killing your bad guys, because in this instance these people will overpower you easily, you know. So he kind of has to learn that lesson when he's fighting the Viltrumites. And the lady he's fighting, kind of unfairly, has like this long braid with like a sword at the end of it, so that's like her, you know, all she has to do is spin and that hair just like has a, you know, giant blade coming at you. And you know, he gets himself stabbed, but they do end up being able to kill her. And everything seems fine, but then one of the Viltrumites that we were very sure was dead, you know, and that's another thing this show like seems to very much emphasize. It's like, it doesn't matter how badly they get injured, the Viltrumites always, at least for a moment, they're gonna get back up again, because they're just really durable. So even though this Viltrumite had like his intestines coming out and he was like pinned to the wall, and you know, it seemed very much like a fatality, right? Like, he's done. Somehow he got all the way back up, flew all the way to where Omni-Man was, and surprise kicked him in the back, and you hear like his spine breaking. And so Omni-Man's not a good place. He's taken down. A bunch of Viltrumites come and take him away, and we meet a new general Viltrumite guy. I forget his name. Gears? There might have been Gears. Anyways, so this high-ranking Viltrumite tells Mark, okay, you know, you've proven that you're worthy of being a Viltrumite, so here's the deal. You're gonna go basically make Earth submit to you. You can do it by just killing a couple humans and making your point, and that way they bow down, or we'll show up and we'll do it our way, which is just to kill as many as we can, right? So that's basically what the ultimatum they're giving Mark now. So Mark's in a much worse place than he was before he made this trip, because now the Viltrumites know about him. They've captured Nolan, so like he's taken off the board now, which really sucks, because like the instant he's kind of a good guy now, he's gone, you know. So I'm sure they're gonna have some mission of trying to save him, which is gonna be hard to talk people into agreeing to do that, right? Because you have to explain it like, oh, but he actually cares now, so you know. Also, he's like the one shot they have of taking out a lot of these people, because Mark was barely able to survive that attack. But in any case, yeah, so where they go from here, oh man, I don't know. Like, does Mark try to prepare Earth and the defenders of the globe or whatever? Like, does he, or guardians of the globe? Yeah, does he try to, like, you know, prepare them? Like, hey, the Viltrumites are coming and they expect me to enslave this place, or do they go on a rescue mission to try and save Omni-Man? Like, what's the ideal play here? I'm not really sure. And also, what's up with Alan the alien? Is he dead? Did he somehow survive all of that? Not sure. I'm sure that's going to come back up. And where's that multiverse guy? He didn't show up again for the second episode in a row. No multiverse guy. He seemed like he was going to be like the main threat of the season, but he's gone. Like I don't know what's up with him. So, you know, I will say, if I have any frustrations with the show right now, it's just that like we seem a lot more unfocused than we were in the first season. Like, the first season had one ongoing mystery of like, why did Omni-Man do this? And now they had all of these little plot threads that they kind of just left dangling, and we're dealing with the Viltrumite stuff, which is good, right? Because that was the main plot. But now I just have like all these other things going on in the background that I'm assuming this will come back up later. I'm sure it will, but okay. And now we have to wait like a couple months, I think, before the next episode of this show, which that's, I'm not sure why they made that call. I mean, I know we've had shows that like take a break, but when is it? Like February or even March when we're gonna get the show back? I don't even know, but I guess we're here. I guess we're just gonna wait and try to figure out what's gonna happen. Obviously, we could go read the comics, and this show, at least I think for the most part, sticks with the comics. I think they just make a couple of changes, but sure, we could do that. But I was really enjoying the show being out. And let's see, so Debbie is, she's still kind of dealing with what happened to Nolan. She got rejected from that self-help group last episode, and now she just kind of sits there, and what's the guy's name? He did the superhero suit tailoring for Nolan, and he's played by Mark Hamill. I don't remember his character's name though. Anyways, he kind of shows up, and they kind of talk about how like, oh, you didn't even need Nolan. He was always off saving the world. You're the one who actually raised Mark. You're the only reason that Mark's any good. Which that might be a hint for all those multiverse Marks that we saw, the versions that turned evil. Like maybe it's because they didn't have the mom around. I don't know. That might be an explanation as to like why he's the only good one, right? Because that was another kind of lingering thing, is like, in almost every other multiverse, Mark turns evil. So what's the difference? What happened here? So that's another thing. And let's see what else. Adam Eve kind of has a moment where she takes on a bad guy. She doesn't know if she wants to be a superhero anymore. She's scared of accidentally hurting people, and it almost happens again where this couple, she's fighting on a bridge, and this couple's car goes into the water, and she has to save them back out. And we don't exactly know what happens, but she ends up just going back home. So with Debbie and Adam Eve, we kind of just see them dealing with emotional problems and stuff happening. I'm not sure where they're going with Adam Eve, because she kind of gave up the superhero life, and she doesn't want to like hurt people, but then it keeps happening. So I don't know like where they're going with this character now. Anyways, I'm still really fascinated to see what Mark decides to do. It kind of feels like you have to rescue Omni-Man, because otherwise what can you do? Like you don't have any other defense. Oh, the books, right? The books, I forgot. So right as Nolan's being taken away, Nolan mentions, go, remember the good I did, go look at my books, and to be honest with you, I had forgotten that Nolan's like other identity was like an author, right? Like he wrote science fiction books as an author, and that's what his his secret identity, Nolan Grayson, did. And I suppose it's probably that all the stories in there are going to be real stories, or at the very least have clues that would actually help them against the Viltrumites, which I have to wonder, why would you write that in a book? If you're Omni-Man and you're still, you're still evil and you still plan on taking over the planet, why would you leave a bunch of clues on how to stop Viltrumites in your books, right? Like, wouldn't that, it feels like the people of Earth would figure that out eventually, right? They'd be like, oh, Nolan was Omni-Man the whole time, and now Omni-Man's evil. Let me go read his books. Oh, look, he left a bunch of clues in here on how to stop him. Why would he do that? I don't know. So I have to assume that that's what's in the books, is a bunch of clues on how to help, stop Viltrumites. But again, not sure why you would want to do that. But maybe it was unintentional, and Nolan's just now realizing like, oh, wait a minute, I wrote a bunch of probably a security risk in writing all those books I wrote, but I don't know. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this episode of Invincible, and where you think it's going. Are you gonna read the comics? Like, can you wait a couple months before we get back to this, or are you probably just gonna read the comics and continue on with the story? And I think that's my biggest thing, is like, we've had we've had shows that go on hiatus for like a couple weeks, you know, like 3 or 4 weeks at the most, but like, you know, we have to wait until early next year. That seems kind of crazy. Not sure what the plan was there, but I guess that's it. Maybe they're still working on those episodes. I don't know. But anyways, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.